Chapter 994. Previously, when the two companies had a falling out, the earliest example was the directing team. After Hai poached Pan Yuan, Su Yiyan personally went to invite Luo Baogang to come over and forcefully suppress Pan Yuan. Therefore, many people knew that the director of their drama was Luo Baogang. However, if someone didn't deliberately mention the other people behind the scenes, such as the scriptwriter, technical consultant, and even stylist, most people wouldn't pay attention to them. In addition, most of these old artists were used to keeping a low profile and didn't like to create hype. In the beginning, when the production team announced it, they deliberately avoided it and tried their best not to let people disturb these seniors. Now that the drama had been broadcast, spontaneously promoting it was different from the audience actively discovering it. In the early days, when the drama hadn't been broadcast or wasn't popular, spontaneously promoting it was to let the audience watch the drama based on this and pull up the ratings. When the audience took the initiative to discover it, it meant that the drama had already entered the public's attention and had received a certain level of recognition. At this time, the team behind the scenes was only icing on the cake. It would also give people a good impression that the production team was really low-key and doing practical things. Wen Jingping had been so angry that she smashed things when she saw that her drama had been criticized as worthless. Now that she saw that her opponent's drama had such a good reputation and received so much praise, anger instantly rushed to her head. She couldn't wait to pick up the scattered things on the ground and smash them again. These brainless low-class people who don't know what's good for them. What's so good about an actress's drama? It's just sensationalism. How can it be as big as my drama's theme? Sure enough, although the technological development of people in the future has advanced a little, the taste of entertainment is getting worse and worse. It's not worthy of liking my drama at all. The system in Wen Jingping's mind listened to its host's complaints and wanted to say something, but it didn't. If it wasn't just a string of emotionless data, she was afraid that it would have sent her two rolling eyes. Wen Jingping didn't have any self-awareness at all. She muttered to herself, "These must be fake reviewers. Yes, they must be fake reviewers. Otherwise, why would they only come to find trouble with me and not with the production team? We're both in period dramas. How can their makeup, hairstyle, and even clothes compare to mine? How can they match history? Why do these people just refuse to let me go, instead of educating them? Someone must have deliberately set the pace here." When the system heard this, it couldn't help but grumble in its heart. Your drama has been flaunting itself as a historical drama since the start of filming, just so you can enjoy the benefits of these ancient culture lovers. The production team next door isn't as pretentious as you guys. From the very beginning, they said that it was a fake background. They just casually added a background for the sake of passing the review to facilitate the plot. Although those professionals were good at arguing, they weren't stupid. Coming to find trouble with you was the right thing to do, but going to find trouble with that person's crew was a scam. No, I can't just sit here and wait for death. I have to hire a water army too. I have to ask the company to help me hire a water army. I also have to delete the comments. I can't let them lead me away. Wen Jingping seemed to have grasped at a life-saving straw. She hurriedly called her agent who had given up on her, and asked her to help her deal with this matter. Who would have thought that before she could make the call, another call came in first. "Hello, Miss Wen. I'm Mr. Dou's assistant, Li Yu." Chapter 995. Wen Jingping could not help but shiver when she heard the words Mr. Dou. She gulped and said carefully, Mr. Li, what's the matter?" "It's like this. Miss Wen, you should know that the drama you starred in has been released recently." Yes, that's true. I took a look. The ratings for the premiere of the drama are alright. But, no matter what she said, as long as she said the word but, it was easy to cause problems. Wen Jingping naturally knew this. Her heart skipped a beat, and her expression stiffened for a moment. But other than the premiere, the ratings for the drama have dropped significantly in the later stages. The reputation of the drama doesn't seem to be good either. This is just a temporary thing. The audience for dramas with this theme is more picky, and some people don't like to watch dramas. They will wait until the drama is over before starting from the beginning. A temporary drop in the ratings doesn't mean anything. I believe that our drama is so good that the ratings will slowly climb back up in the later stages. I hope so. Li Yu's tone did not fluctuate at all. It seemed that she was not very interested in this. As an employee of the same company, I naturally hope that Miss Wen's drama will be a hit. But I have to remind Miss Wen not to forget the bet you made with Mr. Do. Wen Jingping's face turned pale. She said stiffly, I don't quite understand what you mean. Miss Wen, you promised Mr. Do that as long as you were the female lead of the drama, you would be able to shoulder the ratings. Even if you couldn't generate revenue, you wouldn't let the drama suffer a loss. But now, the drama has just been released. Everything is unknown. Wen Jingping's head was covered in cold sweat. She interrupted Li Yu before she could finish speaking. Li Yu was silent for a moment. Then she suddenly laughed. Miss Wen is right. The drama has just been released. Everything is unknown. I just want to remind Miss Wen that if the ratings for the later stages of the drama really rise like you said, it'll be fine if the initial investment is recouped. But if it loses money, I'm afraid Miss Wen will have to find a way to cover the losses yourself. Why? Wen Jingping was so scared that she blurted out in a fishy voice. After she finished speaking, she realized that it was inappropriate and hurriedly tried to salvage the situation. I mean, the success or failure of a TV series is not just about the heroine. What you just said is, the success or failure of a drama isn't just a matter of one person. But Miss Wen seems to have forgotten that you were the one who personally made this bet with Mr. Do. Could it be that Miss Wen wants to go back on her word now? No, I didn't mean that. Li Yu didn't give Wen Jingping a chance to refute and continued. Also, why are the male and female leads called male and female leads? It was because they had the most scenes in the drama and were the most popular. In other words, they were here to boost the viewership ratings. Unfortunately, your drama is a female lead drama, so no one else has as many scenes as you do. To put it bluntly, as the female lead of a major female lead drama, if you can't even handle the viewership ratings, what kind of female lead are you? Now that the ratings of the drama are not increasing, and the investors are losing money, who else can I blame but you? Miss Wen, please be clear about one thing. I'm here to inform you, not to discuss it with you. You only have two choices. 1. Pray that the drama can really come back from the dead and boost the viewership ratings. 2. Work hard to earn money and pay the compensation. Otherwise, I'm afraid you can't bear the consequences. Chapter 996. Li Yu didn't give Wen Jingping a chance to respond and immediately hung up. Wen Jingping's face darkened when she heard the busy tone. She tried to hold it in, but in the end, she couldn't take it anymore and smashed everything in her hands. After venting her anger by smashing things, Wen Jingping turned her anger to the system. She gritted her teeth and said, "Useless trash, this is your so-called male lead. You still won't let me untie him. Do you want him to kill me?" The system was angered by Wen Jingping's shameless behavior and said coldly, "Host, please understand that the second male lead was chosen by the host. It has nothing to do with the system." Wen Jingping choked and her face darkened. "How many times have I said it? I never chose him. It was you guys who made the decision for me. I don't admit it." The system chuckled and shut up. After that, no matter how Wen Jingping poked it, it refused to talk to her. Wen Jingping complained to no avail, and even made herself angry. But when she thought about what Li Yu had said, Wen Jingping couldn't help but feel afraid. She knew better than anyone else how much money was invested in Empress. Wen Jingping didn't even dare to think about how much money she would have to pay if the ratings of the show weren't ideal. It was definitely an astronomical figure that Wen Jingping didn't even dare to think about. How could he treat me like this? How could he treat me like this? Wen Jingping hugged her chest and felt cold all over. She couldn't understand how things had turned out like this. Obviously, someone else had latched onto a powerful thigh, and wealth was within reach. She, on the other hand, had been running around for so long and didn't get anything. Instead, she got scolded and inexplicably had a huge debt on her back. Why was it like this? Do Tianyi had treated her very well in the beginning. He liked to eat her cooking and personally arranged accommodation for her. He even helped her avoid Huo Xiaofeng's harassment. She was afraid of him, but she was also secretly happy that he treated her differently. But why did it suddenly change? Wen Jingping still could not figure out why Dou Tianyi would suddenly abandon her, and not even want to see her face. When exactly did the problem start to appear? Come to think of it, every time she thought she was about to succeed, there would be all kinds of accidents. Ding Juecy was one of them this time, and so was Dou Tianyi. However, if they really wanted to look into it, it seemed to have started from Hua Xiaofeng. First, it was the talent show. Then, something happened to Hua Xiaofeng's family. Everything seemed to have been forcefully pushed off the original track by a large hand, causing her efforts to be in vain. The culprit seemed to be Hua Xiaofeng's ex-fiancée Miss Su. Wen Jingping's not-so-smart brain suddenly became smart for once. Thinking about it carefully, everything seemed to have suddenly changed when Hua Xiaofeng broke off his engagement with Miss Su. After that, Miss Su married Hua Xiaofeng's youngest uncle and easily got a management company. This management company was the main investor of the show she participated in. In order to stay, she had a conflict with the artists of this management company. After that, Hua Xiaofeng was suddenly kicked out of the Hua group and stripped of his inheritance rights. Hua Xiaofeng's youngest uncle's legs suddenly recovered. He took the company back from Hua Xiaofeng's father and kicked him out of the company. According to the system, Hua Xiaofeng originally had the male lead script. How could he be kicked out so easily? Miss Su and Hua Xiaofeng's uncle were definitely suspicious. Chapter 997. However, so what if Wen Jingping knew that there was something wrong with Su Yiyan? She could not even protect herself in her current situation, let alone find trouble with Su Yayan and Li Wuyo. Thinking of the huge debt she was about to bear, Wen Jingping was afraid and resentful. She could only pin all her hopes on the last straw. No, I can't just admit defeat. So much money. Where am I going to find so much money? Wen Jingping paced back and forth with a pale face. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something and her eyes lit up. Yin Jihong, yes, as long as he's willing to help. There's still a chance for everything to turn around. After Ding Juecy's accident, Wen Jingping exchanged all the goodwill she had gained from Ding Juecy into props and threw them all to Yin Jihong. This made Yin Jihong's attitude towards her change significantly, allowing her to stay alone in the crew and not be affected by Ding Juecy's scandal. Now Wen Jingping had no other choice. Yin Jihong was her last hope. As long as she caught him and made him loyal to her, she could make a comeback. Understanding this, Wen Jingping gritted her teeth and decided to use some extreme means. Su Yiyan didn't know about the twists and turns inside Hai Yi, let alone that Wen Jingping had been forced into a desperate situation and accidentally suspected her. Following the popularity of Dancing Red, Su Yiyan also welcomed an uninvited guest. Director Luo, Auntie Song, why are you here? Su Yiyan looked at the few elders sitting in the hall, blinked, and took the initiative to ask, "These are? President Su is back." As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, Luo Baoging and the others didn't say anything. Xia Ningxi had already stood up and rushed to Su Yiyan's side. Her eyes were shining and she smiled a little foolishly. Su Yiyan had goosebumps from her smile and instinctively took a step back. Just as he was wondering what had happened to the little girl, he heard her lower her voice and shout excitedly, "Host, Su Yiyan." All right, the case was solved. Someone had tipped them off. She shouldn't have trusted that brat from the Lan family too much. You know? Did Miss N tell you that? Su Yiyan's words were tantamount to admitting that Xia Ningxi called him a streamer just now. The light in Xia Ningxi's eyes became brighter. If it weren't for the elders on the scene, she would have rushed forward to give Su Yiyan a big kiss. Xia Ningxi kept nodding while flattering Su Yiyan with tears in her eyes. I didn't expect it to be you. Sob 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 sob. Did I succeed in chasing after my idol? No, the streamer is Dong Cheng's boss. I've worked with Dong Cheng before. Therefore, the streamer is also my boss. Streamer, does your company still need screenwriters? You'll bring your own script, work hard without complaint, and don't need a salary. You'll only need to pay for 3 meals. Su Yiyan laughed and said helplessly, our company doesn't provide 3 meals. 1 meal is fine, or 1 meal a week. I'll pay for it out of my own pocket. I only need a number. Xia Ningxi was afraid that Su Yiyan would refuse. She looked up at Su Yiyan eagerly and tried to sell herself. The streamer has promoted employee benefits in the live broadcast room before, right? I don't ask for much and it doesn't need to be free. I can pay for it. I just want to be able to cut in the employee queue. Once a week, no, once a month, I'll get a number. Streamer, please accept me as a diligent and lovable social animal. Su Yiyan. No, girl. Do your family know that you're selling yourself so conscientiously? Chapter 998. In the end, it was Song Linghua who took the initiative to speak up and rescue Su Yiyan from the awkward atmosphere of being chased after by fanatical fans. What are you whispering about over there? Why don't you share it with us elders? Su Yiyan seemed to wake up from a dream. She smiled faintly and looked at them. I'm telling Miss Xia about the drama we've been broadcasting recently. I saw that the reviews online for this drama are very good, and the ratings are very high. It's all thanks to you, Director Luo, Miss Xia, and the rest of the crew. When Luo Baoging heard Su Yiyan praise their drama, he looked a little proud. However, he said, it's mainly because your company's investment is in place. It's not surprising that it's such a good drama after spending so much money. Director Luo is too modest. Nowadays, it's not like you can make a good drama just by spending money. Let's not talk about the distant ones. Just look at the terrible drama next door. They spent no less money than our drama, but what happened in the end? Look at how many people on the internet are saying that they're good? It's all because they don't have good directors and consultants like you and Auntie Song. No matter how good the actors and the script are, it's all ruined. Speaking of the recent success of Red Brave, the person who regretted it the most was director Pan Yuan, who was originally invited by Dongqing Entertainment to direct the drama, but later broke the contract and jumped ship to Hai. Director Pan initially promised to direct Red Singer. But on the eve of the contract signing, he jumped to Hai and announced that he would direct The Empress. He openly helped Hai to backstab Dongqing. In fact, the reason he was willing to jump ship was very simple. Compared to Dongqing, Hai gave him more remuneration, more promises, and more generous treatment. However, when he joined the crew, he realized that he had been tricked. Hai did give him more remuneration, but in exchange, the company took away most of his rights as a director. They were both big historical dramas, but Dongqing didn't interfere with the selection of the crew, the scriptwriter's adaptation of the plot, or even the replacement of the actors. He had given Luo Baoging almost all of the rights in the production team, giving him the greatest amount of trust. Hai was different. From the casting of actors to the plot, and even some friction during the filming process, the director had almost no say in it. The final result was that the drama wasn't very good. The ratings weren't good, and many of Hai's empty promises couldn't be fulfilled. In addition, in order to step on Dongqing, Hai Entertainment had publicized the fact that he directed Empress to everyone. Outsiders might not understand, but insiders could see the knack of it at a glance. It would have been fine if he had done a good job in the drama. After all, people in this industry worshipped the strong and trampled on the weak. As long as you stood at the top, your character was secondary. But the truth was that he had messed up. He had lost all his face. One could only imagine what awaited him in the future. All right, you two can stop flattering each other. Song Linghua couldn't stand the two of them bragging about each other. She pulled her husband aside and glared at him. Let's get down to business. Yes, let's get down to business. After being glared at by his wife, Luo Baoging remembered the purpose of today's visit. He coughed softly and said, Little Su, we're here today to ask for your help. What's the matter? It's like this. These two are old friends of ours. Song Linghua pointed to the two elders who were about the same age as them and introduced them. One of their juniors had an accident 2 years ago and was injured. We heard about it by chance and thought that you might be able to help her, so. Chapter 999. She heard something by chance? Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows and glanced at Xia Ningxi as if she sensed something. Xia Ningxi looked at the sky and the ground with a guilty conscience, but she didn't dare to look at Su Yiyan. She just heard Song Linghua and others talk about this, and she couldn't hold back her desire to promote her idol. She didn't expect that her momentary hot-headedness seemed to have caused trouble for the host. Would the host hate her because of this? Woo woo woo. Su Yiyan saw Xia Ningxi's reaction and understood everything in her heart. She smiled and said, "It's rare for Auntie Song to open her mouth. If I can help, I won't refuse. I just don't know what Auntie Song is talking about." Song Linghua didn't speak, but glanced at the two old people next to her. The two understood and hurriedly got up and said, "Hello, Miss Su. We are friends of Baoging and Linghua. My surname is Li, and this is my lover." "Hello, Uncle Li." Uncle Li was about the same age as Luo Baoging. It was reasonable to say that Su Yiyan should be more than enough to call him grandpa. However, Su Yiyan had been accustomed to being one generation higher than her peers since she married Hua Chenhuan. Song Linghua and Hua Chenhuan's parents were old friends. Su Yiyan called him uncle according to their seniority. Grandpa Li was somewhat surprised when he learned that Su Yiyan was the person they were looking for. After all, in his opinion, Su Yiyan was a little too young. Even when he spoke to Su Yiyan, he was a little more restrained. Su Yiyan's call of uncle comforted his embarrassment in a timely manner. His tone relaxed a little. "Here's the thing. This is my granddaughter. Her name is Lian Nam. She used to be the singer." "Singer?" Su Yiyan subconsciously glanced at the young man sitting beside the two old men. In fact, Su Yiyan had noticed this person as soon as he entered the door. There was no other reason than the fact that the weather was not particularly cold. But this person was wrapped up tightly from head to toe, with almost no flesh exposed. Even his face only revealed a pair of lifeless eyes. It looked inexplicably strange. Seeing Su Yiyan's curiosity about his granddaughter, Grandpa Li's eyes flashed with a touch of sadness. He took the initiative to explain, "Nan had an accident when she went abroad to perform 3 years ago. The performance venue suddenly caught on fire. The fire spread very quickly and soon reached the lounge where Nan was." When Grandpa Li said this, Lian Nam's dead eyes moved slightly, and one could faintly see his unwillingness and resentment. Although the rescue team arrived in time, and Nan barely survived, the fire still left her with scars all over her body and took away her throat. Hearing this, Su Yiyan narrowed his eyes. He could roughly guess why these people were looking for him. He also finally understood why the person in front of him was wrapped up so tightly. Fire can be really scary sometimes. A girl, a singer, survived the fire, but her face was disfigured and she lost the voice that she was so proud of. No one could tell whether this was a blessing or a misfortune. Su Yiyan looked into the other's lifeless eyes and felt a rare bit of compassion. He probed, "Can I see her injuries?" When Su Yiyan said this, Lian Nam suddenly trembled and subconsciously reached out to cover her face. Obviously, she was very resistant to the idea of showing her burns in front of a stranger. Chapter 1000. Grandma Li was sitting next to Lian Nam. She quickly hugged her granddaughter and comforted her gently. Su Yiyan did not expect her to react so strongly. She touched her nose and said awkwardly, "If you feel offended, then forget it." Grandpa Li frowned and hesitated. No matter how much he doubted Su Yiyan's ability, they came today with a glimmer of hope. If they did not even show her the wound, how could they ask for help? Thinking of this, Grandpa Li finally stopped hesitating. He walked up to his granddaughter and said in a hoarse voice, "Nan, let's just let Miss Su take a look. Just one look. Grandpa knows that you're upset, and that you don't want anyone to see your face, but Miss Su is not just anyone. Maybe she really has a way. Don't be afraid, Grandpa and Grandma are here." Song Linghua and the others quickly said, "That's right, and Nan. If you mind, we can leave. Just let little Su stay behind and take a look for you, okay?" Song Linghua and her husband were old acquaintances with Grandpa Li and his wife. They had been in contact with each other all these years. Therefore, they doted on each other's juniors. Otherwise, they would not have put aside their pride and come to Su Yiyan for help. Lian Nam listened to everyone's words. Not only did she not calm down, but she reacted even more strongly. She clutched the edge of the gauze tightly and her whole body tensed up. She was like a fully drawn bow that could break at any time. Seeing this, the elders also felt a little distressed and decided to retreat at the same time. At this moment, the child's cries suddenly rang out, breaking the tense atmosphere in the room. When Su Yiyan heard the crying, she did not care about the guests present. She quickly went up and took the child from the nanny. What's wrong? Do you miss your mommy? Kiss kiss mua mua, don't cry don't cry. The child's temper came and went quickly. After being coaxed by Su Yiyan for a while, he stopped crying. He sobbed and grabbed onto Su Yiyan's clothes, looking extremely pitiful. Woof woof. Dun Dun and its silly son were still circling around Su Yiyan's feet, barking incessantly. When the little guy heard the dog barking, he pouted his mouth and was about to cry again. He looked as if he had been greatly wronged. Seeing him like this, Su Yiyan immediately became nervous and asked in a low voice, "Why are you crying again? Did Dun Dun and the others bully you? Tell Mama. Mama will help you vent your anger." The little guy seemed to understand his mother's words. He waved his little chubby hand that was like a lotus root and cried out nonstop. It was as if he was complaining. The nanny at the side explained in a timely manner. "Just now, I brought little young master to play with the pink ball that young madam bought previously. Little young master likes that ball very much. Every time he finishes drinking milk, he must pat that ball." Perhaps because he was particularly happy today, he used a little too much strength to pat the ball, and it flew away. I was about to carry him over to pick it up when Silly Boy ran out from somewhere. He bit the ball and ran away. Later, I don't know where he hid it. I couldn't find it no matter how hard I tried. Little young master cried. Su Yiyan really did not expect such a thing. She was angry and amused at the same time. She lowered her head and rubbed her son's chubby face. Okay, it's just a small toy. Let Silly Boy bite it back for you. It's fine if you can't find it back. Mama will buy you a new one." Crying over such a small thing. I didn't expect our baby to be such a crybaby. The little guy was poked in the nose by his mother and snorted in dissatisfaction. He buried himself in Su Yiyan's arms and was unwilling to look up. Chapter 1001. Xia Ningxi couldn't help but laugh when she heard Su Yiyan's words. She squatted beside the two dogs and said in surprise, "Host, your dog is called Silly Boy? This corgi does look like an iron silly boy. It doesn't feel like a corgi, but more like a husky." Silly Boy didn't know that he was being laughed at. He looked up and stuck out his tongue at Xia Ningxi. Dun Dun patted his son's head in disappointment. To prevent him from continuing to be stupid in front of the guests, he picked up his destiny by the scruff of his neck and ran away with his short legs. Xia Ningxi looked at the backs of the two dogs, one big and one small, and laughed. "I heard people say that corgis have short legs and run like moving little meatballs. I didn't believe it. Today, I found that this saying is reasonable, ha 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 ha." Su Yiyan. "Girl, your laughter is too wild. Be careful that they come back to bite you. Don't you know that corgis hate it when people say that they have short legs?" After such a small episode, the faces of the elders, who were originally frowning, couldn't help but show some smiles. Grandma Li looked at Su Yiyan, who was holding the child not far away. When she turned her head, she found that Lian Nam had calmed down and was staring at the chubby boy in Su Yiyan's arms. Grandma Li was slightly stunned. Then, she thought of something and her eyes turned red. After Su Yiyan coaxed the child, she turned her attention back to the guests. To be precise, she focused on Lian Nam. "Have you thought about it? If it's too much, let's call it a day. Go back and discuss it before you make a decision." Su Yiyan didn't have the habit of forcing people, nor did she have the overflowing heart of a saint. Today these people had asked her for help. Before coming, they didn't know to reach a consensus. They waited until they came. Even if Lian Nam was really pitiful, Su Yiyan felt that she didn't need to rush to ask people to do this test. I'm willing to show it to you, but only you." As soon as he said this, the room fell silent again. Lian Nam's voice was not pleasant to the ears. It was as hoarse as a car tire running over gravel. It was low and sounded like it was being torn apart. After listening to it too much, it always made people feel uncomfortable. Ever since her throat had been damaged by the fire, Li Annan had rarely spoken. This was the reason why she rarely spoke. Grandpa Li was the first to react. He said emotionally, Okay. It's good that you're willing. Miss Su, What do you think? Su Yiyan didn't expect Lian-nam's attitude to change so quickly. He looked at her suspiciously. There is a guest room downstairs. You come with me. The others wait outside. Su Yiyan naturally couldn't hold the child in her arms when she went in for a checkup. She handed the child over to Uncle Zhang for the time being and asked him to help greet the guests in the hall. Host, can I play with your baby for a while? Xia Ningxi looked at the chubby baby in the cradle with shining eyes, and her excitement was beyond words. Today, not only did she see a live host, but she also saw the host's legendary baby. Her life was complete. Su Yiyan saw Xia Ningxi's little thoughts and didn't stop her. Okay, but my baby is a little afraid of strangers. He likes to be noisy. You can just watch. Don't touch him. If you make him cry, no one can coax him. Xia Ningxi hurriedly said. Okay, I'll just watch. I promise I won't touch him. Chapter 1002. The guest room on the first floor was right next to the living room. Su Yiyan led Lian-nam into the room. She looked at the open window in the room and asked in a low voice, Do you want me to close the window? Lian-nam pursed her lips and nodded slightly. Su Yiyan didn't mind. She walked over to close the window and drew the curtains. Fortunately, the sky wasn't completely dark yet. The curtains in the room were thin and allowed light to pass through. Even with all the curtains drawn, she could still see the furnishings in the room and the faces of the people around her with the faint light. Su Yiyan closed the curtains and returned to the bedside. She heard Lian-nam say with her head slightly lowered, Thank you. You're welcome. Do you want to do it yourself? Or do you want me to help you? Lian-nam's body stiffened when she heard that. Her hands that were hanging by her side subconsciously tightened. The two of them were in a deadlock for a while. Lian-nam's hands trembled as she slowly removed the bandages covering her face and neck. When the last layer of bandages fell off, Su Yiyan realized that the person in front of her was much more severely burned than she had imagined. The excessive burns left scars and pink keloids on her face. There were some signs of shrinkage in the depths of her cheeks and chin, making her facial features look strange. If she suddenly saw such a face at night without any mental preparation, she would most likely be frightened and might even have nightmares. No wonder she had such a big reaction when she said that she wanted to see her injuries. If it were her, she wouldn't want anyone to see her in such a hideous state. No, to be precise, if she had become like this, Su Yiyan wasn't sure if she would have the courage to continue living. After a short moment of shock, Su Yiyan took the initiative to walk to Lian-nam's side and asked in a low voice, Can I touch it? Lian-nam clenched her hands into fists. She resisted the urge to wrap the bandages back and nodded slightly. She didn't even dare to look at Su Yiyan. She was afraid that she would see fear and disgust in her eyes. She was even more afraid of seeing her own ugly and twisted face in her eyes. Su Yiyan got Lian-nam's permission and reached out to touch her face. She carefully felt the keloids and some uneven scars on her fingertips. You have these on your body too? Yes. It's that serious? Yes, Su Yiyan muttered. It's a little troublesome. The light in Lian-nam's eyes dimmed instantly. Su Yiyan didn't try to comfort Lian-nam to comfort. She said, I can't just rely on myself, your injuries, I can't do it. From the scars on your face, I can see that after you were rescued, you should have quickly undergone skin grafting surgery. This is correct. Your burns are too severe. If we don't stop the wounds from festering, we won't be able to save your life. But skin grafting can only heal your external wounds. Skin grafting alone won't be able to heal the burns that are too deep. The only choice you have now is plastic surgery. Fill this part back to its original state and stretch the skin. Lian-nam was silent for a long time and said, I know it's useless. Over the years, her family had never given up on finding a better treatment for her injuries, as well as her face. Lian-nam had heard what Su Yiyan had just said from several doctors before. Chapter 1003. It was the same statement, but at the end, it would be followed by the same warning. After plastic surgery, there would be scars. just like when she was severely burned and had to undergo skin grafting surgery, which resulted in scars all over her body. She did not look like a human, but more like a broken doll that had been stitched together. The so-called plastic surgery was nothing more than making her look less like a ghost. Are you talking about the scarring after the surgery? This is indeed unavoidable. After all, the burns on her body had already penetrated deep into her subcutaneous tissues. It was basically impossible for her to completely recover to her original state. But there is still some room for manipulation for this scar. Lian Nam's body trembled. Her eyes widened in surprise and anticipation as she looked at Su Yiyan. You mean you can help me get rid of these ugly scars? I can't guarantee that it will be completely removed. Su Yiyan glanced at the scars on her face. But it should be able to fade them. Fade them? Lian Nam's hands subconsciously tightened. To what extent? I can't say for sure, but it should be able to fade to the point where it can be covered with makeup. Upon hearing this, Lian Nam finally could not hold it in anymore. She stood up and stared at Su Yiyan with burning eyes. Really? Su Yiyan rolled her eyes. She could not be bothered to argue with Lian Nam on this topic. Even an experienced doctor could not guarantee that he could cure every illness, and that there would be results for every illness, especially irreversible injuries like Lian Nam's. If you think that I'm boasting to fool you, you can choose not to believe me. Lian Nam was silent for a while. Just when Su Yiyan thought that she would refuse to cooperate or seriously consider for a period of time like before, she suddenly heard her ask in a hoarse voice, "Did you treat Chirue and Jinyo's illness?" Su Yiyan was stunned. She did not expect that she actually knew Ning Chirue, but Jinyu? Was there anyone she knew by this name? Seeing Su Yiyan's confusion, Lian Nam's expression changed a little. He coughed softly and said, Jinyu and Chirue are good friends. He once looked for you in the hospital and asked you to treat him. That's right. There was a period of time when he wasn't very good in that aspect. It took Su Yiyan a few seconds to figure out what he meant by not being able to do that. Finally, she recalled who Jinyu was that Lian Nam mentioned. Oh, it's him. Su Yiyan seemed to have thought of something and couldn't help laughing. How is he now? And cough cough. Lian Nam was unusually calm when discussing this topic with Su Yiyan. He said calmly, It's pretty good. He used to be a playboy, changing girlfriends like changing clothes. If he didn't have clothes, he could run naked at most. If he didn't have a woman, he might die. Chirue often scolded him for being a teddy bear. After this incident, he suddenly turned over a new leaf and cultivated his character. In the past 1 or 2 years, he hasn't had many girlfriends. It's rare that he's chaste. If not for this, they wouldn't have realized that something was wrong. Su Yiyan heard Lian Nam's words and raised her eyebrows. She smiled faintly and said, You have a good relationship with him? He even told you about this kind of thing. When it came to a man's dignity, most people couldn't wait to hide it. Who would tell a female friend so openly? We grew up together. It slipped out of my mouth. Su Yiyan nodded in understanding. So, you're willing to come to me because of the two of them? Chapter 1004. Yes. If that's the case, why are you asking so many questions? Lian Nam pursed her lips and didn't say anything. Su Yiyan sighed when she saw this. She could understand her concerns. Open your mouth and let me take a look at your throat. Lian Nam was stunned. She suddenly grabbed Su Yiyan's hand and said excitedly, My throat, is there a way to recover? Su Yiyan couldn't help but roll her eyes at her. I haven't even seen it yet. How would I know if it can be cured? Let's see first. As Su Yiyan spoke, she pried open Lian Nam's mouth. Perhaps because she was hopeful, Lian Nam was very cooperative this time. She opened her mouth so that Su Yiyan could see the situation inside. Su Yiyan took a few simple glances. In fact, it was just a formality. She had already activated her gaze skill and scanned the position of Lian Nam's throat. Your throat must have been affected by the smoke. Later on, you didn't take good care of it, so it became like this. If you take good care of it, there should still be hope. Perhaps because her throat was inside, Lian Nam had inhaled too much smoke and damaged her throat. With a few prescriptions and long-term recuperation, it could still be improved. At least, it was much easier to treat this than the burns on her body. Lian Nam's eyes lit up slightly. Then in the future, can I still sing? Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment. She took a deep look at the person in front of her. She could tell that this person really likes singing. She wasn't even this excited when she was talking about treating her burns. As someone who regarded singing as her life's work, after this fire, her face was ruined, and her voice, which could make her dream come true, was also gone. She had become neither human nor ghost, so she couldn't be blamed for being so lifeless before. If you talk for too long, or if you talk too much, your throat will hurt, right? I can't guarantee that you'll be able to sing in the future, or to what extent you'll be able to sing. But at the very least, I'll be able to make your speech not sound as unpleasant and strenuous as it is now. What Su Yiyan didn't say was that with her current situation, even if she was cured, her voice would definitely change. But for singing, this shouldn't be a big problem. After all, a smoker's voice was quite popular these days. She believed that as long as Lian Nam had the heart to continue singing, he would find the right path for his voice sooner or later. Of course, if she couldn't even accept this, then there was nothing she could do. Of course, if you think my promise is too vague, you can choose not to believe it. I believe you. As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, Lian Nam quickly spoke up. That pair of eyes that were originally as calm as a pool of stagnant water finally had a faint ripple because they saw hope, and there was also a bit of vitality that they didn't have before. Lian Nam reached out and touched his face. No matter what, it can't be worse than it is now. I'm willing to take a gamble. If you can do what you said just now, then you'll be my benefactor. For the next few decades, my life will be given to me by you. I'll do anything you ask of me. Ever since the fire happened, Lian Nam had thought of dying countless times. She used to be so dazzling. Her family was well off, her family was happy, her grades were excellent, and she had countless pursuers. Her biggest wish was to one day become as capable and famous as her aunt, a singer who was loved by countless people. For this goal, no matter how much pain she suffered, it would be happiness for her. Chapter 1005. In fact, she was rewarded for her efforts. Because of her singing, more and more people liked her, followed her, and supported her. She brought home trophies after trophies, which also announced that she was getting closer to her goal. But in the end, all of this was burned down because of a big fire. After the accident, Lian Nam went on a hunger strike, cut her wrists, and even tried to jump down from a tall building, but she was stopped. After many failed attempts to commit suicide, Lian Nam looked at her crying mother in despair, and her father who had aged a lot overnight, even his back was hunched. She suddenly realized that her parents had spent so much effort to pull her back from the gates of hell. They didn't want her to give up on herself so easily and die without knowing why. Since then, Lian Nam didn't try to commit suicide. Her body survived, but her soul died in the fire. But now, she suddenly realized that maybe her soul didn't die, but was sealed in a corner of her body, waiting for someone to save it and wake it up. If Su Yiyan could really do what she said just now and let her sing again, even if she couldn't return to the stage because of her injuries, she would treat her as her second parent and do everything she could for her. Su Yiyan heard her words and couldn't help but laugh. Why would I want your life? Your life was given to you by your parents, whether it was in the past or now. The reason why I'm willing to help you is because I want to give Auntie Song some face, and also because you look a little pitiful. To be honest, my man's life was almost ruined because of an accident. Looking at you makes me feel a little sympathetic. Su Yiyan sighed. Sigh, I can't help it. Whenever I encounter something related to him, my heart softens easily. Lian Nam. Did she just eat a mouthful of dog food without warning? Lian Nam was silent for a moment, and then she revealed a rare smile. But because of the injuries on her face, this smile looked more or less scary. However, Su Yiyan could still feel that the person in front of him, who had been tense ever since he entered the room, had relaxed a little at this moment. In the past 2 to 3 years, although Lian Nam did not come into contact with many people, He was very sensitive to the emotions and gazes of the people around him because of his physical condition. Especially the doctors who were hired by her parents to treat her. They looked at her with pity, sympathy, and pity. One or two of them even thought that they hid the disgust in their eyes well. In their eyes, he was a porcelain doll that they could not do anything to and could not afford to offend. He might break with a touch, and if he broke, they would not be able to pay for it. Therefore, be it sympathy or disgust, most of these people treated her very carefully. No one was like Su Yiyan. There was no fear or disgust in her eyes when she looked at him. It was as if she was just an ordinary patient who needed treatment, and did not need any special treatment. Even if there was a little bit of sympathy, he would be frank and honest. There was no need to beat around the bush, for fear that a wrong choice of words would stimulate her sensitive nerves. She had not experienced this kind of feeling in a long time. Su Yiyan did not know that her straightforward words made the person in front of her lower her guard a little. She touched her chin and pondered for a moment, then clapped her hands and said, "How about this? If you really want to repay me, when you get better, if you still want to continue singing, you can join my company." Chapter 1006. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, the room fell silent. The two of them stared at each other for a long time. Su Yiyan mistakenly thought that the other party was unwilling, and realized that her words were a bit abrupt. She took the initiative to save face and said, "It's okay if you don't want to. A singer like you is probably not suitable for a management company like ours. I was wrong. Please don't take it to heart." Lian Nam shook his head. "I'm not unwilling. I just suddenly remembered that Chirue mentioned you to me before. He said that you often like to sign patients or their family members into the company. Your hobby is a bit special." "Su Yiyan? What do you mean by I like to sign patients or their family members into the company? Clearly, you people have a favor to ask of me, so I took advantage of the situation and signed people. How did it become my fault in the end? I didn't do it. Don't talk nonsense. You come to me for free food and drink and dare to spread rumors about me behind my back. I think you have too little work and too much free time." Ning Chirue, who had no idea that he had been sold, was squatting miserably in a remote ravine, feeding mosquitoes while reminiscing about the barbecue that he had cheated his boss into bringing home. His saliva was almost dripping out of his mouth. Suddenly, a gust of cold wind blew. Ning Chirue felt cold all over and shivered. Why was the valley so cold at night? If he had known earlier, he would have brought more thick clothes. It was too difficult for him. Su Yiyan and Lian Nam did not stay in the house for long. It was less than half an hour, but the people waiting outside felt like a lifetime. When the two finally came out of the house, Grandpa Li and Grandma Li rushed over immediately and surrounded their granddaughter with concern. "How are you? And Nan, are you okay? What can happen to her?" Su Yiyan laughed. "I just went in to take a look. Do you think I'll eat her up?" The two elders looked embarrassed, but they could not help but be curious. "Miss Su and Nan the scars can be removed and the throat can be treated, but I can't do anything about the keloids on her face. I can only do surgery." The two were excited when they heard the first half of Su Yiyan's words, but they were a little embarrassed when they heard the second half. I'm willing to operate." Grandpa Li was stunned for a moment before he realized what his granddaughter had said. He was so excited that he held his granddaughter's hand tightly and said, Okay. As long as you are willing, Grandpa will ask your parents to find you the best plastic surgeon when we go back." Yes. Su Yiyan still needed to consider the ointment to remove scars and the prescription to treat her throat. It was impossible to produce them right away. In addition, for Lian Nam's throat to recover, he would need acupuncture for a period of time as an auxiliary treatment. Su Yiyan confirmed the time of the first treatment with them, and they did not continue to disturb him. After thanking him, they prepared to leave. Su Yiyan sent them out with the child in her arms. When they parted, she suddenly stopped Xia Ningxi and asked with a smile, "Chirue said that you don't have a good appetite before, so he specially ordered a barbecue and a beggar's chicken from my restaurant. I don't know if they suit your taste. How's your appetite lately?" Xia Ningxi was stunned. Only then did she realize that her boyfriend was an artist of Su Yiyen's company. They knew each other and were very close. Did he ask you for the barbecue and the beggar's chicken? He also said that I don't have a good appetite? Yes, he said that you don't have a good appetite and everything you eat is not delicious. He was very worried about you, so he specially came to me to ask for these too. I saw that he cared about you so much, and it was not a big deal anyway, so I agreed. Chapter 1007. The expression on Xia Ningxi's face suddenly froze, and it took a while for her to find her voice. So, he already knew that you were the host? Probably. Even if he didn't notice it before, after the barbecue last time, he took the initiative to ask her for food. No matter how slow he was, he should have noticed it. Su Yiyan did not dwell on this topic. He looked up and asked Xia Ningxi, "Didn't he tell you?" "Oh, tell her what?" "Tell her that he knew that her boss was the host, and that she had always admired the host and wanted to meet her. But for so long, he had never thought of telling her the identity of the host? Or tell her that this bastard used her name to swindle and deceive her. After he was done, he even lied to her that he had spent a lot of effort to buy those things from the host's store to share with her, and that she was so touched that she didn't want it anymore? When she thought of someone who knew the truth, but chose not to say it, deliberately watching her make a fool of herself, Xia Ningxi was so angry that she wanted to grind her teeth on the spot. Su Yiyan saw that she didn't say anything. He frowned slightly and said, "Oh, I forgot. You knew it from Missen. So he didn't tell you. Maybe he forgot." How could he forget such an important thing? Xia Ningxi only felt that her little heart had been stabbed with a knife. Su Yiyan seemed to be unaware and continued, "Speaking of this, Chirue is now the backbone of our company. You are his girlfriend. Strictly speaking, you are also an employee's family member, so you can enjoy employee benefits. If you just want to jump the queue and get a number, you don't have to enter the company." If Xia Ningxi had heard Su Yiyan's words half an hour ago, she would have been so happy that she would have jumped on the spot. In Xia Ningxi's ears, these words were tantamount to adding fuel to the fire, and the fire in Xia Ningxi's heart was ignited. "This big liar full of lies, you are dead." Achoo. The evening wind in the mountains was always cool, but it also brought with it a creepy whimper. Ning Chirue hugged his chest with his hands and couldn't help but shiver. "It's over. This gully is so cold when it gets dark. If I stay here all night, I'm afraid I will catch a cold tomorrow." At the thought of this, Ning Chirue's face fell. So why was he so stubborn? Why did he give up his comfortable life and come to this remote place to suffer? Not to mention that Ning Chirue, who was experiencing a tragedy, did not know that there was an even more terrible tragedy waiting for him 2 days later. Su Yiyan was in a good mood after successfully swindling the guy who spoke ill of her behind her back. She hugged her soft little son and kissed him a few times, making the little guy giggle. When Hua Chenhuan returned home and saw this scene, her originally flat lips couldn't help but curl up a little. She slowly walked behind the two of them and hugged them. Su Yiyan was startled. He turned to look at him and said with a faint smile, "You're back." Hua Chenhuan responded in a low voice and leaned over to kiss Su Yiyan's forehead naturally. The baby in Su Yiyan's arms looked at this scene with his big eyes. Suddenly he raised his hand and cried out, trying to attract the attention of his parents. Sure enough, as soon as Su Yiyan heard his cry, she immediately looked down and chuckled. "Baby, are you jealous because you saw Daddy kissing Mommy?" Ah woo woo woo. The little guy's little chubby hand clenched into a fist, shaking and waving, as if agreeing with his mother's words. Chapter 1008. A smile flashed across Su Yiyan's eyes. Then, he handed the chubby baby in his hand to Hua Chenhuan, indicating that he should quickly kiss the child, and let him feel a certain someone's strong fatherly love. Hua Chenhuan saw through Su Yiyan's little thoughts at a glance. Although he looked helpless, he still followed Su Yiyan's instructions and lowered his head to kiss the little guy. The little guy was stunned for a moment after being kissed. He raised his hand and slapped Hua Chenhuan's face. Although it was called a slap, the child's strength was only that much. When the slap landed on Hua Chenhuan's face, it didn't hurt or itch. It was more like a slap. Hua Chenhuan, on the other hand, was stunned by this small amount of strength. He looked at the audacious brat in surprise. Ha 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 ha. Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh when he saw this scene. He hugged his little son and rubbed against him. In a low voice he lectured, "Baby, you can't hit Daddy. If you continue like this, Daddy will get angry. Mommy will also get angry." As Su Yiyan spoke, he deliberately lowered his face to scare the little guy. The little guy rolled his big eyes, as if he had sensed Su Yiyan's emotions. He quickly reached out his little chubby hand to support Su Yiyan's face, and wiped the saliva off her face. Su Yiyan really didn't expect his son to be so skilled at kissing and acting like a spoiled child at such a young age. He was defeated on the spot. He hugged the baby and kissed him fiercely. When Hua Chenhuan saw this, he frowned with some jealousy. He leaned over and wanted to kiss Su Yiyan to show off his strength to this little guy who dared to compete with him for favor. Unexpectedly, just as he leaned over, the little chubby hand came as expected and slapped him in the face. It was a little strength, but it was incomparably firm and pushed him away. The two adults were stunned by the little guy's sudden slap. After a long time, they burst into laughter. "Baby, do you not want Daddy to kiss Mommy? But Mommy belongs to Daddy. Daddy has the right to kiss Mommy. What should we do?" Compared to Su Yiyan's good-natured teasing, Hua Chenhuan was much more direct. He directly reached out and poked the little fellow's head, and said in an especially cold and merciless manner, "Little bastard, if you want a wife when you grow up, go and find one yourself. You want to compete with me? You're still a dozen years too early." As soon as Hua Chenhuan's words came out, not only the little fellow, but even Su Yiyan, the person who was being fought over, was stunned. A few seconds later, the little guy seemed to have understood the provocation from his own father. His little mouth twitched, and he used his greatest trump card and burst into tears. His cries were so loud that his face turned red. His cries reached every corner of the building, causing Uncle Zhang and the others downstairs to run over to see what was going on. After learning the ins and outs of the matter, everyone unanimously cast condemning gazes at Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan, who inexplicably felt that he was being isolated. This little bastard was indeed born to be his nemesis. Once the little fellow started crying, no one could coax him. In the end, he was tired from crying and fell asleep in Su Yiyan's arms, feeling wronged, and was carried away by the nanny. Before leaving, the nanny even looked at Hua Chenhuan with a particularly rebellious and condemning gaze. Hua Chenhuan, who felt that he had taken the blame. As soon as the little fellow left, Su Yiyan finally focused his attention back on Hua Chenhuan. He said in annoyance and amusement, "You're really too much. Why are you being so serious with a child? You've made him cry." Hua Chenhuan was already full of pent-up anger. When he heard Su Yiyan's words, he snorted in disdain. However, he didn't let go of Su Yiyan's hands, and instead tightened his grip. Chapter 1009. Kid, you know how to compete with me at such a young age. I don't know how lawless you will be when you grow up. After Hua Chenhuan finished speaking, she rested her chin on Su Yiyan's shoulder, and imitated the little guy's pitiful behavior. "You still blame me? Forget about the others. Didn't you see that the little bastard didn't let me kiss you just now? Don't call him a little bastard." Su Yiyan reached out and pinched Hua Chenhuan's cheek. "If he's a little bastard, then what are you? A big bastard?" Hua Chenhuan choked and snorted angrily. Su Yiyan was also a little helpless. This guy was obviously fine before, and he liked the little guy very much at first. Why did he become more and more wrong recently? He even became jealous of the little guy. If this were to be spread out, a group of people would laugh their teeth off. Okay. When the little guy was here, he didn't let me kiss you. Now that he's not here, I'll kiss you a few more times to make up for it." Su Yiyan immediately turned his head and kissed Hua Chenhuan a few more times. Hua Chenhuan's expression became better. Although he was still a little depressed that his wife chose his son first between his son and himself, which made him a little uncomfortable, at least he didn't hate her as much as before. Su Yiyan, who had just coaxed the little baby, now had to coax the big baby. He felt a little tired. Taking advantage of Hua Chenhuan's stupor from his kiss, he quickly changed the topic. Speaking of which, Auntie Song and the others came to visit us for a while just now. Auntie Song. Hua Chenhuan frowned. What did they come for? Su Yiyan briefly explained the matter. Hua Chenhuan immediately grasped the key point. You want to help her? To be precise, I want to help those young people who have been treated unfairly because of their scars. When Su Yiyan said this, his eyes were fixed on Hua Chenhuan. If I remember correctly, you also have a few scars on your body. The car accident that year had destroyed Hua Chenhuan's legs. One could imagine how serious it was. Other than the internal injuries on his legs, Hua Chenhuan's body was still covered with many external injuries from the car accident back then. Hua Chenhuan was stunned. She grabbed Su Yiyan's hand that was touching her body. She took a deep breath and said hoarsely, "It's just some small scars. It's not a big deal." Su Yiyan's hand was grabbed by Wei Xiaobao, so he did not make any more trouble. However, he did not agree with what Wei Xiaobao said. That's because your scars are all on your body. Moreover, they are relatively scattered. There is no large area connected together. If you cover them with your clothes, you won't see them. If it's on the face, arm, or calf, there will be 1 or 2 large injuries. Other things aside, girls definitely won't dare to casually wear short sleeves or miniskirts. Men tend to be more mindful of their words. I reckon they wouldn't dare to casually wear short shirts and shorts, let alone swim. When Hua Chenhuan heard what he said, the main point was a little off. If these scars were on my face back then, would you still like me? Su Yiyan pondered for a moment. That's hard to say. 1 or 2 small scars are fine. If it's a big scar, maybe. Hua Chenhuan's eyes were slightly cold. Maybe what? Maybe I won't be able to fall in love with you at first sight. Hua Chenhuan could not help laughing. So, you fell in love with me at first sight because of my face? Otherwise? Who doesn't fall in love with your face at first sight? As Su Yiyan said, he touched Hua Chenhuan's face in a particularly frivolous way. Doesn't this also indirectly show that your face is handsome, and has the capital to fall in love with you at first sight? Chapter 10:10. Hua Chenhuan, who was suddenly teased by his wife, didn't know whether to be angry or amused. The next second, he heard Su Yiyan say faintly, "Speaking of this, I was quite curious before. You and Hua Xiaofeng are obviously family, but why do they look so ugly and you look so good?" At that time, I didn't know that you were not related to them by blood, so I especially deceived myself and thought that you had a genetic mutation, or that your parents had left all the good genes to you and the bad genes to them. Su Yiyan mentioned this mainly to praise Hua Chenhuan's handsomeness. Unexpectedly, she poked Hua Chenhuan's sensitive spot, which made his face instantly gloomy. He leaned over and covered Su Yiyan's chattering mouth, swallowing all her words into his stomach. After the kiss, Hua Chenhuan buried his head in Su Yiyan's neck and angrily threatened her. "Don't mention Hua Xiaofeng in front of me." Su Yiyan was a little stunned by his kiss, and then she said, "Are you jealous? He's not as good as me. Even if I hurt my face, he's not as good as me. Yes, yes, yes. No matter whether your face is hurt or not, in my heart, you're the best and one of a kind." Su Yiyan coaxed this huge vinegar jar without any pressure, and then she couldn't help but sigh. But those who really have scars on their faces may not have a handsome face like yours, and they may not be as lucky as you to meet someone who likes them so much that they don't care whether their face is good or not. You want to mass produce and promote. Hua Chenhuan frowned. I'm afraid that's not easy. With the improvement of the quality of life, many people's enjoyment of life increased a lot. There was a dazzling array of beauty and skincare products on the market, and many of them were old brands that had a large audience. Su Yiyan had good intentions, but she was afraid that they couldn't sell at all. Losing money was a small matter, but she was afraid that it would be a waste of so much effort and affect her mood. It was not worth it. I know it's not easy, but as long as it's gold, it will always shine. My shop will release some new products from time to time. Let's try them out first. If the reviews are good, I'll increase the production. If no one wants to buy them, then forget it. It'll save me a lot of trouble. What kind of money was the easiest to earn in this world? Naturally, it was these beauty and skincare products. If a woman really cherished her face, She would spend a lot of money on it every year. Although Su Yiyan was a lazy person most of the time, she could still be excited when she needed to be. After all, no one would be stupid enough to reject money. Not to mention that the store was not her business alone. Hua Chenhuan had never interfered with Su Yiyan in this aspect. Hearing her say so, she did not object. If you want to do it, then do it. Just don't tire yourself too much. Su Yiyan felt sweetness in her heart. She laughed and scolded. Why are you always worried that I'm tired? It was fine when she was pregnant, but now that the baby has been born, she's still like this. In my heart, there's nothing more important than your health. As Hua Chenhuan spoke, he leaned over and picked her up. He was ready to do something tiring with his wife, hoping that she would not have the chance to think of that little brat tonight. As for a second child, one was enough. Another one was impossible. It was impossible in this lifetime. Su Yiyan was full of ambition. She felt that through this scar removal ointment, she could help her to successfully start a second life in her career. At the same time, she could give her little cousin some money for milk powder. Unexpectedly, just as she was about to start, something happened to the Chung family. Chapter 10-11. What? Someone reported that grandfather received bribes and kickbacks from the research institute, and even reported that uncle was in charge of several companies for tax evasion? How is this possible? When Su Yiyan heard about this, her face darkened. She wished she could immediately fly to her grandfather's side and beat up the villain who played dirty tricks behind the scenes. Don't worry. Hua Chenhuan held on to the angry Su Yiyan and comforted her. It's just a report. Those people went to your uncle's company to investigate for a long time, but they didn't find anything. It's already confirmed that it was a false accusation. My uncle's side didn't find anything, but what about my grandfather? Su Yiyan's face was ugly to the extreme. This sudden incident made Su Yiyan think of her previous life. It was around this time that a so-called anonymous report brought down the two most capable people in the Chung family. Even the Chung family was ruined and scattered. It sounded like a child's play, but that was the truth. Because there was a spy in the Chung family, he colluded with outsiders and firmly pinned this groundless crime on her grandfather and uncle. This spy was unsurprisingly Chung Fenglang, who entered Chung Jiuanhao's company at that time and served as the company's senior executive. Although the main branch of the Chung family and the side branches didn't live together, their relationship had always been good. Most of them were willing to help if they could. Take Chung Jiuanhao for example. His parents and elders may be strange, but his ability was not bad. Because he had a crush on Su Yiyan, he was later schemed by grandfather Chung and sent abroad. Grandfather Chung also felt a little guilty toward him. Therefore, not long after he returned to the country in her previous life, Chung Jiuanhao arranged for him to enter his own company and gave him a lot of benefits. He didn't want to bury the root of the disaster for the entire family and raise a terrible ingrate. In this life, Su Yiyan knew from the beginning that this person's heart wasn't good. After Chung Jiuanhao sent him to the company, she gave him a warning in advance. As a result, Chung Fenglang didn't enter Chung Jiuanhao's company as smoothly as in her previous life. Initially, he thought that by solving the root of the problem, the Chung family wouldn't repeat the same mistake. Who would have thought that it would still happen? Su Yiyan thought about how her grandfather had worked hard for the country and the people all his life. He was not particular about food, clothing, housing, and transportation, and had never bought anything valuable for her. Anything that was worth more than 4 or 5 digits was basically given to him by the younger generation out of filial piety. Even the old house at home was given to him by the higher-ups for his meritorious contributions. It had not been changed for decades. Such a person who had dedicated most of his life was framed and slandered by others in the end. In turn, he was cursed and scolded by those who had once enjoyed his kindness. He couldn't keep his integrity in his old age and finally died of depression. His uncle had never done anything wrong. In order to accumulate good karma and have a child that belonged to him and his wife, he had done all kinds of charity for decades. However, because of the betrayal of the people around him, he had inexplicably been charged with a crime. If it wasn't for Hua Chenhuan in her previous life who pulled him at a critical moment, he might have been jailed. When she thought of this, Su Yiyan couldn't control the anger in her heart. She wanted to tear Cheng Fenglong's family apart. Grandfather is fine. They are all fine. Don't scare yourself. Do my mom and the others know about this? Got it. They were the ones who called me, Wang Yao said. Su Yiyan frowned. Why did they only call you and not me? Chapter 10-12. Maybe he's worried that you'll be overly nervous, so he asked me to pass on the message. At least I'm by your side, so I can hold you back and not let you be too impulsive. Su Yiyan pursed her lips. She was a little unconvinced, but she didn't continue on this topic. Then my mom and the others. They've already booked tickets and are going to visit Grandpa and the others tomorrow. I want to go too. Hua Chenhuan seemed to have expected Su Yiyan to have such a reaction. He smiled faintly and said, Of course we'll go together. We'll also bring the little guy to visit Grandpa. Okay. Although Hua Chenhuan repeatedly said that the Cheng family's situation wasn't serious, and Cheng Juanhao and Old Master Cheng weren't affected much. However, Su Yiyan still felt a little uneasy. The next morning, when the sky was just beginning to brighten, Su Yiyan got up and prepared a lot of things to bring to the Cheng family. Hua Chenhuan was holding the sleepy little guy who was still a little grumpy after waking up. He looked at Su Yiyan with helplessness in his eyes. We're just going to stay there for a few days. You don't have to bring so many things, right? It's rare for us to go there, so I have to bring more things to stay for a few more days. Let me see, these are for Grandpa, these are for Uncle and Auntie, and these are for little cousin. Su Yiyan was counting the bags one by one. Hua Chenhuan heard a trace of something wrong from her words. You're going to stay there for a few more days? Isn't it a little long vacation? I haven't seen Grandpa and Auntie for so long, so I miss them. Moreover, Mom and the others are going too. It's rare for the family to gather together, so we'll stay for a few more days. It's lively, and the baby can also play with kanji for a few more days to interact with each other. Hua Chenhuan breathed a sigh of relief when he heard what she said. It turned out that they were going to stay together for a period of time. He thought that his wife and children would run away after he went out. It would be awkward if he came back alone. The whole family packed up their things and rushed to the airport excitedly to meet up with Cheng Xiuqin and the others. Unsurprisingly, Cheng Xiuqin also brought a lot of things. He was happy to be empty-handed, but his father and Su Yuxuan had to work hard as porters. At first, Su Yiyan was a little worried that the little guy would cry because he couldn't adapt to the oppressive atmosphere on the plane. Unexpectedly, the little guy went to sleep as soon as he drank his milk. When he woke up, the plane had just landed, and the jet lag was just right. Cheng Juanhao knew that they were coming, so he drove a bigger car to pick them up. Even so, it was noon before they finally arrived at the Cheng family's old residence. As soon as Qin Xueru heard the sound, she carried the child out and shouted, Dad, Yin Yan and the others are here. As soon as Su Yiyan got out of the car, she saw the two people. Her attention was immediately focused on Old Master Cheng. She quickly stepped forward to hold his hand and said with concern, Grandpa, how are you? Why do you look so pale? Did you not sleep well these 2 days? The concern of his precious granddaughter made Old Master Cheng smile. He reached out to pat her hand and said, I'm fine. Everything is fine. Grandpa is old, and he doesn't sleep much. By the way, where is my great-grandson? Didn't you say that you were going to bring him to see me? I've been thinking about it all day. Here. Hua Chenhuan heard this and carried the child forward. The last time the little guy saw his great-grandfather was when he was 1 month old. After a few months, he didn't know if he still remembered. Fortunately, the little guy didn't seem to be afraid of strangers since he was born. Except when he showed some hostility to his father. As long as Su Yiyan was present, he was very easy to talk to. Chapter 10-13. Grandpa Cheng reached out and pulled him into his arms. He did not cry or make a fuss. Instead, he looked him up and down with his big eyes as though he was trying to figure out who this white-haired old man was. The old man had always liked children. So his heart softened when Hua Xiaoheng looked at him. He teased Hua Chenhuan as he played with the baby. Hua Xiaoheng, you're still as skilled as ever. It seems like you've been helping Yan Yan take care of the baby a lot. You're like this even when you're here. I bet you don't take care of the baby at home. Grandpa, you've wronged me. It's not that I don't want to take care of the baby, but this guy won't let me. He even said that men and women shouldn't touch each other. The baby is a boy. If it were a girl, he wouldn't have stopped me. He made it sound nice, but if it were a girl, he wouldn't let me take care of her either. When the baby kissed me 2 days ago, he even warned the baby not to compete with him for attention. The baby was so angry that she cried. How old is he? He's even jealous of a child. I really can't do anything about him. The crowd, who had only wanted to watch the show, felt their stomachs stuffed with dog food. All right. We know you guys are close. You don't have to show off in front of us. All right. Let's talk inside. Don't just stand at the door. The moment Cheng Junhao's words came out, everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream. The group of people walked into the courtyard. Cheng Xiuqin and Su Yayan helped a few of the old servants in the house to distribute the luggage, and followed them into the house. As soon as they sat down, they started to ask about the business. Dad, what's going on? When I saw the news about your family, my heart almost stopped. How could you not tell us about such a big thing? The Cheng family's incident had happened a few days ago, but the Cheng family had been keeping it a secret. The rumors had gotten worse over the past 2 days, and the public opinion had gotten out of hand. That was how Su Yiyan and the others found out about it. They came so suddenly that we were caught off guard. Fortunately, nothing serious happened, so there's no need to worry. You didn't cause any trouble this time, but you won't be allowed to do so next time. As soon as Cheng Juanhao finished speaking, Su Yuxuan couldn't help but remind him. Yuxuan. Cheng Xiuqin looked at his eldest son with disapproval. Mom, you've been reading so much news these past 2 days. Haven't you noticed that these news articles are all about the same? Moreover, not long after Uncle's family got into trouble, many online reporters, media outlets, and marketing accounts seemed to have made an appointment and started to spread rumors. They made it sound like Grandpa and Uncle had already been convicted. Are the reports true? The few elders present were not as familiar with the marketing of public opinion as the young people. They looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Su Yiyan immediately understood what he meant. His eyes turned cold as he said coldly, Big brother, what you mean is that I'm afraid someone is manipulating this matter behind the scenes, deliberately guiding public opinion in a direction that is unfavorable to uncle and grandfather. It was very likely that this was just the beginning. If they didn't find out who this person was, there would be endless trouble in the future. Grandpa, uncle, have you found out who maliciously reported you? When Su Yiyan asked, the two of them shook their heads with serious expressions. Not to mention that the other party was anonymous. Even if they weren't, the information of such whistleblowers was usually well protected. Otherwise, no one would dare to casually report people like the old master, who had a higher status than himself. Chapter 10:14. This was a form of protection for the whistleblower, but it was also a form of connivance for those who wanted to fish in troubled waters and frame others. Actually, in addition to the company and Dad's research institute, something else has happened in the past 2 days. Juanhao, Dad, it's already come to this. What's there to hide? There are no outsiders here. Cheng Xiuqin also felt that something was wrong when he heard this. He frowned and said, Dad, what else are you hiding from us? Actually, it's nothing much. It's just some old stories from the research institute. Cheng Juanhao was furious. That's nothing? That shameless person even took advantage of you and accused you of plagiarism. Plagiarism? Su Yiyan's expression changed slightly. What could Grandpa have plagiarized? Thinking about it again, Grandpa Cheng had just mentioned the research institute. Su Yiyan's expression immediately darkened. The research results of Grandpa and Grandma back then? Yes. At this point, Grandpa Cheng also knew that this matter could not be hidden anymore. He could only tell the truth. Actually, it was an assistant who followed me back then. He had some talent, But his heart was not right. Later on, something happened and I kicked him out of the research institute. So he held a grudge. When he saw that something had happened to you, he came out to falsely accuse you of plagiarizing his research results. Yes. Su Yiyan subconsciously turned to look at Hua Chenhuan. This was too much of a coincidence. Their family had just gotten into trouble, and someone had already jumped out to spread rumors that seemed to be true and false. They took the lead to lower the public's impression of the person involved, and create an inherent bad impression of the person involved. Later on, even if it was clarified that these were all rumors and the report was not true, those people would ignore it and pretend to be deaf and dumb. They would think that the higher-ups were deliberately protecting privileged personnel and bullying ordinary people like them. Grandpa, what happened back then that made you unable to tolerate it and kick him out of the research institute? Su Yiyan did not think that his grandfather was someone who could not distinguish between public and private matters. This person must have done something particularly overboard and crossed the line for Grandpa Chung to be so ruthless. An assistant who had been personally chased out by a senior, which other legitimate laboratory would dare to easily accept him? At the mention of this, old Master Cheng's face darkened. He took advantage of his identity in the research institute to maliciously collect commissions for equipment. He almost leaked the things we were researching and analyzing at that time. Su Yiyan was taken aback. Wasn't this already considered leaking trade secrets? Moreover, because of the special nature of the research institute, if they really wanted to pursue the matter, his crime would be much more serious than leaking trade secrets. This was an academic secret. If he were to be strictly investigated, a few years in jail would be considered a light punishment. He might even be implicated in some unknown serious crimes. Wasn't this matter recorded? If it had been recorded, he wouldn't have been able to jump up and down and bite back. When the matter was exposed, he knelt in front of me and your grandmother to admit his mistake. He asked us to give him a chance to turn over a new leaf. Your grandmother was soft-hearted and felt that he had just gone astray for a moment. In the end, he couldn't bear to see a young man's life ruined because of this, so he only asked me to kick him out of the research institute and never hire him again. However, it turned out that some people were crooked from the very beginning. Even if you gave him 1,000 or 10,000 chances, he would not really repent. Temporarily admitting his mistake and pleading for leniency was just to find an opportunity to pick up the butcher's knife in the future. Needless soft-heartedness would only be exchanged for another counterattack by the ingrate. Chapter 10:15. Su Yiyan's expression turned even uglier when he heard this. Back then, he was caught taking kickbacks and colluding with outsiders to leak confidential information. Was there any evidence left behind? There was at that time, but it's been so long. I don't know if it's still there. After all, old Madam was still alive when this happened, and both of them were still in the research institute. It had been at least 20 to 30 years since then. Even if there was any evidence, it wouldn't be easy to find it. Leave this matter to me. Hua Chenhuan took the initiative to take on this task. However, I might need grandfather to talk to the people at the research institute and ask them to cooperate. After all, it wasn't appropriate to disclose too much of the research at the research institute to the outside world. Hua Chenhuan could ask someone to help restore some of the relevant information, but if the people at the research institute didn't agree to help during the process, it would be easy to be caught red-handed and make things worse. This isn't difficult. Old Master Cheng looked deeply at Hua Chenhuan and his wife. After all, he had been retired for many years. Most of the current senior management at the research institute were technically his juniors. However, an elder who was no longer in the research institute and had no real power might give you some face on the surface, but in reality, he might not really respect you. The reason he said this now was entirely because of the batch of Chinese herbs that Su Yiyan had previously provided for the research institute, as well as Su Yuxuan's current cooperation with the research institute. Both sides had a relationship of mutual benefit. In addition to his old face, it was relatively more confident to ask them to give him face. Su Yuxuan obviously knew this as well. He said spontaneously, "In a while, Yen Yen and I will call the director and ask him to cooperate. How many days will it take to get results? Hua Chenhuan briefly considered the difficulty of this matter and gave a specific time. In 2 days. Okay, I'll call him in a while. Hua Chenhuan nodded in agreement. He turned his head and saw Su Yiyan's worried expression. He asked in a low voice, "What's wrong? Are you still worried?" "Grandfather, what does that man do now? Did you find out?" "I've looked into it." Cheng Juanhao took the opportunity to interject. "This man is just an ordinary executive of a small company. He only has one son in his family, and he's not very successful." "An executive from a small company?" Su Yiyan frowned. "How could an executive from a small company cause such a big disturbance? Why are you encouraging so many media outlets to set the pace? You mean, there must be someone else behind this?" Su Yiyan took a deep breath and said coldly, "Uncle, have you tried to investigate Cheng Fenglong's family?" As soon as Su Yiyan said this, not only Cheng Juanhao, but also several elders present were shocked. They looked at each other and said, "Why did you suddenly mention their family?" Cheng Juanhao was the first to react. "Are you suspecting that this incident is related to them?" "Yes." Su Yiyan always felt that there was something fishy about this matter. In this life, although Cheng Fengling did not enter Cheng Juanhao's company, this incident suddenly happened at this time. He even contacted the major media outlets in advance and said with certainty, as if he had already expected that Cheng Juanhao would have problems internally. Only the people inside the company knew about the internal accounts of a company. It was impossible for it to be leaked easily. This matter was like, there was a mole in the company. Even if this matter was not done by Cheng Fengling, Su Yiyan felt that this matter could not be separated from him. Chapter 10:16. When Cheng Juanhao heard what she said, he was not in a hurry to make a conclusion. Instead, he said thoughtfully, "You seem to have reminded me before that I shouldn't let him into the company unless it was absolutely necessary. Could it be that at that time, you thought that he—" Su Yiyan raised her head and looked at everyone present. She felt that this was a rare opportunity to let her family know the true colors of Cheng Fenglong's family. "Actually, I heard Cheng Fenglong's parents mention uncle, aunt and my parents by chance." Old Master Cheng and the others had always doted on Su Yiyan, so they had never doubted her words. Hearing her say this, their first reaction was that these two people must have said something particularly excessive, which was why Su Yiyan was so disgusted and guarded against them. "What did they say about us?" Su Yiyan tried hard to think of an excuse. "They said that uncle and aunt didn't have any children for so many years. They gloated and ridiculed our family's bloodline. They said that we were guarding such a large family property, but in the end, it only benefited the kittens and puppies outside. They also said that this was retribution." Although there were many people who chose not to have children because of financial pressure, health, and other reasons, the word bloodline still stabbed the hearts of some people who liked children to a large extent. Especially Cheng Juanhao and Qin Xueru, a loving couple who had been begging for children for many years. Their faces immediately darkened. Fortunately, the little guy in Qin Xueru's arms kicked his little feet at the right time, as if he was a little uncomfortable being hugged and wanted to get out of her arms. Qin Xueru woke up from a dream and put the little guy on the ground with a faint smile. Porridge was a few months older than Su Yiyan's baby. He could already crawl all over the ground by himself. For this reason, the floor in the house had to be cleaned several times a day and covered with soft carpets, so that he could crawl everywhere without restraint. After Porridge circled around the adults, he suddenly seemed to have discovered something. He tilted his little head and suddenly rushed towards Su Yiyan and Qin Xueru. "Yiya." After Kanji crawled to Su Yiyan's feet, it raised its head and looked innocently at the little fellow in her arms. Then it grabbed Su Yiyan's calf and stood up shakily. It looked like it could fall at any time. Qin Xueru was shocked. She subconsciously wanted to go forward and carry the child back, but she was stopped by her husband. The baby stood up. Cheng Juanhao said to Qin Xueru silently. Qin Xueru was stunned for a moment. She looked at the little fellow who was being protected by Su Yiyan. and had already used his own strength to support Su Yiyan's calf. For some reason, her eyes suddenly felt a little sour. Perhaps what parents wanted to do the most was to watch their children grow up bit by bit. From being able to flip over to being able to crawl, stand, walk, and run, they had participated in every stage. Just watching was enough to satisfy them. At that moment, little cutie Porridge grabbed Su Yiyan's pants tightly and stood up. With a thud, he fell onto Su Yiyan's thigh because he could not stand properly. After being stunned for a while, he seemed to realize what had happened and chuckled. Unlike little Xingxing, who only had small and tender teeth when he smiled, Porridge was almost a year old. A few millet-sized tender teeth had popped out from all over his body. When he stood up, these little teeth could be seen, and it made one's heart soften. Yeah. After Porridge finished laughing, he reached out his little hand to reach little Xingxing. As he reached, he kept calling out, as if he was greeting his little nephew. Chapter 10:17. Kanji, this is. Su Yiyan wanted to say that this was his little nephew, but she thought that the word nephew might be a little difficult for Kanji at this moment, so she changed her words. This is little Xingxing. We've seen him in the video before, right? Yeah. When Kanji heard Su Yiyan say that, he smiled even more happily. His little chubby hand kept patting Su Yiyan's leg to express his joy at finally seeing his little friend. Compared to Kanji's liveliness when he saw his little friend, little Xingxing was much calmer. He pulled out the pacifier in his mouth, and also called out to Kanji. Woo woo, yeah. Woo woo woo? Yeah. Woo 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 woo. Yeah. In an instant, there was only the sound of the two little ones arguing in the room. It was clearly just two children blindly calling out. In the eyes of the few people, for some reason, it felt as if they had a common language with children. They also knew what the other party was saying, but the adults could not understand. Su Yiyan looked at the two cute little ones, and could not help but laugh out loud. When the others heard her laugh, they suddenly woke up and laughed as well. With this laugh, the unhappiness caused by the topic just now instantly disappeared. Qin Shueru walked over with a face full of smiles. She picked up her son and said, "It seems like Kanji likes Xingxing very much." When Xingxing came, he learned to stand on his own without a teacher. Su Yiyan was surprised. Is this his first time standing? Yes, today is his first time. That's very fast. Xingxing just turned over a few days ago, and he hasn't grown teeth yet. I just saw that Kanji seems to have 4 or 5 teeth. The top 2 and the bottom 2 have both popped out. Now he's growing the rest. The two new mothers talked about their children for a while, and their mood eased a lot. When old Master Chung saw that everyone's expressions had returned to normal, he coughed lightly and changed the topic. Other than that, what else did they say? Everyone's eyes fell on Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan let out a long sigh and said, "Other than my uncle and aunt, they also talked about my mom and dad." Chung Xiuqin's face darkened. Thinking of what Su Yiyan had just said about ending his family line, he knew that nothing good would come out of this family's filthy mouth. What did he say about us? They say that you're just lucky. You were reincarnated into Grandma's womb, and you were born a rich young lady. It was a pity that she didn't have good taste. She had taken a fancy to a penniless and nameless grassroots like her father. It's only because Grandpa is rich and Uncle is capable. Otherwise, how could you live such a good life if you only relied on Dad? He even said, "What else did you say?" Chung Xiuqin's face had completely darkened. These words were not only about her, but also about her husband. This was what Chung Xiuqin could not tolerate. He also said that it's only because Dad has no money and no power that he doesn't dare to offend Grandpa and Uncle. Otherwise, if he really became rich, he would definitely kick you aside and find those young and beautiful women. When Father Su heard this, his face finally changed. He was angry and flustered, and he said helplessly, "Don't listen to her nonsense. I only love you. Whether you have money or not, I only love you. I don't like those young and beautiful women." Chung Xiuqin was originally very angry, but when he heard his father's words, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I'm not angry about that. Chapter 10:18. She was angry because that gossipy woman had seen through her man too clearly. A narrow-minded person would look at everything with a tinted glass. Especially when they were extremely jealous. They couldn't see the truth at all. They only believed what they wanted to believe. As if this was the only way to comfort their inferior and ugly hearts. That woman only saw that Father Su's business was getting more and more prosperous after he married Cheng Xiuqin. But she didn't see how much hardship and effort Father Su and Cheng Xiuqin had suffered in the early days of their business. She was even more selective and blind, turning a blind eye to the decades of love between Father Su and Cheng Xiuqin. With just a few words, she negated other people's business and feelings. It could be said that she was really jealous. Su Yiyan looked at her angry parents and lowered her eyes. What she said was not a lie. In her previous life, Cheng Fenglong's matter was exposed, and he was severely beaten by Hua Chenhuan. He went from a department executive with an annual salary of millions to a crippled homeless man, who no one would take a second look at on the side of the road. Cheng Fenglong's mother couldn't accept that the son she had always been proud of had become like this. She went crazy and said a lot of truth, including this. Su Yiyan couldn't tell whether she was so angry that she didn't choose her words carefully, or simply said all the things in her heart. Anyway, with her temperament, if she could say such words, even if it was deliberate revenge and deliberately exaggerated the curse, she must have had such thoughts in her heart before, so she could say it so smoothly. After ridiculing me and Xiueru for not having children and that we would have no descendants in this life, she eccentrically cursed my sister and brother-in-law for not having a good relationship, and that they would divorce sooner or later. This kind of person is actually a relative of the same surname. Those who don't know will think that we dug up their ancestral grave. Su Yuxuan rolled his eyes and reminded. Uncle, strictly speaking, their ancestral grave seems to be the same as ours. Cheng Juanhao choked and glared at his eldest nephew angrily. At this time, shouldn't they be united against a common enemy and united against an external enemy? How can you expose my shortcomings like this? Su Yuxuan. Was he wrong to speak the truth? Old Master Cheng glared at his son, and was also very angry. She still thinks that it's retribution for Junhao and Xiueru not being able to have children? What kind of heinous things did our family do to deserve such retribution? At the very least, even if our family has any retribution, it's not up to them to make irresponsible remarks. Dad, you may think that way, but I may not think so. Cheng Xiuqin sneered. Didn't you hear what Yin Yan said just now? She's looking forward to the end of our family's bloodline, so that all our assets will go to the cats and dogs outside. Wasn't their family one of these cats and dogs? Dad, have you forgotten how this family shamelessly tried to take advantage of us back then? With Cheng Xiuqin's reminder, old Master Cheng's face darkened and he hit the walking stick in his hand twice. Obviously, he was disgusted by that distant memory. Cheng Juanhao and the others also came to a realization. After all this time, this family was jealous and cursing their family. They were simply eyeing their family's assets and wanted to kill them and replace them at any time. Based on this logic, they did have sufficient motive. Hua Chenhuan had been listening to their discussion quietly. After a moment of consideration, she said coldly, actually, after the 1-month-old celebration, this woman sent me something through the company's internal email. Chapter 10:19. Everyone's eyes turned to Hua Chenhuan. What did she send you? Why didn't I know about it? Hua Chenhuan glanced at Su Yiyan. It's all nonsense. You'll only get angry if you read it. Su Yiyan looked suspicious. So what exactly is it? She suspects that you cheated on me. Pfft. As soon as Hua Chenhuan said this, everyone looked as if they had seen a ghost and stared at him in shock. You mean, she thinks I cheated on you? Hua Chenhuan was amused by Su Yiyan's shocked and confused expression. He reached out to scratch her nose and smiled faintly. Not only does she suspect that you cheated on me, but she also suspects that our baby is the evidence that you cheated on me. What? Su Yiyan exclaimed. Is there something wrong with her brain? I think so too. Su Yuxuan also reacted at this time. So, she sent you those things because she thought she had caught Yin Yan cheating on her, and reported it to your husband who was cheated on. She wanted you to find trouble with Yan Yan? Yes. Cheng Xiuqin's expression didn't look good, but he was still a little confused. Why would she suddenly send this to Chen Huan? Did she hear any rumors outside? Su Yiyan was a little depressed when she heard this. When did she send it to you? Not long after Kanji's full moon ceremony. Kanji's full moon ceremony. Su Yiyan's eyes were slightly cold. During Kanji's full moon ceremony, Chen Huan and I met Cheng Fenglang at the banquet. When old Master Cheng and the others heard Su Yiyan's words, their expressions changed. You met him. Did he do anything? What could he do? He just ran over to say hello to us, and left after a few words. Oh right. Su Yiyan smiled as she spoke and turned to look at Hua Chen Huan. He looked a little bad when he left. Maybe he was a little full from watching our public display of affection. Su Yuxuan had just picked up a cup, and was about to drink some water to calm herself down when she heard this. However, old Master Cheng seemed to think of something. He stared at Su Yiyan with a serious expression for a long time and asked tentatively, Yan Yan, do you already know that he likes me, right? When Su Yiyan said that, Su Yuxuan was the one who reacted the most. What? He likes you? Cheng Fenglang likes you? Is he stupid? You are cousins, how can he like you? Is he a pervert? They're just cousins in name. They're not related by blood. Even if you are not related by blood, in the eyes of outsiders, you are still close relatives. Brother, aren't you being too sincere? I'm not going to be with him. What does his thoughts have to do with me? It doesn't affect me. Su Yuxuan choked, but he was still a little indignant. I just think that it's dangerous and disgusting for him to have such thoughts about you. Su Yuxuan was a few years older than Su Yiyan. He knew more about the evil things that Cheng Fenglang's family had done in the past than Su Yiyan. Because of this, he really did not have a good impression of this family. Although the adults said that the children should not be implicated in what the adults did in the family did, the children should not be prejudiced against the children of the same age. However, Su Yuxuan was inevitably led astray. Now that he learned that Cheng Fenglang had actually had ulterior motives towards his sister, his impression of him plummeted to the bottom. Chapter 1020. Yan Yan met Fenglang at the banquet. Not long after that, Fenglang's mother sent something like this to Yan Yan. Qin Shuaru pondered. Could it be that he was provoked by the two of you and deliberately went back to talk nonsense, making his mother really think that you? Not necessarily. Su Yuxuan touched his chin and looked at Hua Chen Huan. Before Chen Huan, Su Yuxuan paused. He knew that his sister didn't like others to say that Hua Chen Huan was disabled, so he had to find another word. His legs weren't very good before, but they've recovered now. According to what Yan Yan said just now, this family, especially Cheng Fenglang's mother, can't bear to see others living better than them. She might have gossiped about Chen Huan's legs. When she heard Cheng Fenglang mention the two of them, and heard that Chen Huan's legs were fine, wouldn't she think more? Cheng Xiuqin only felt that it was ridiculous. Are they fools? Why didn't they think about it? If Chen Huan was really Yan Yan's man, how could she casually bring him out in public like our Kanji's one-month-old banquet? Do they really think that everyone is as shameless as them? Who knows? The thoughts of idiots are always more unexpected than we think. Unexpected idiocy. Su Yiyan listened to his brother's analysis, and felt that it was very possible. Wasn't Cheng Fenglang's mother the kind of person who couldn't bear to see others living well, and used the most despicable thoughts to think of others? It was clearly her family's insatiable greed that caused their lives to be worse day by day. In her eyes, it was others who owed her. Not only did she unilaterally make enemies with others, but she also thought that others must have a bad life. As long as they didn't have a good life, she would be happy. It was normal for such a person to think that she had cheated on her husband just because of a few words from Cheng Fenglang. How do you know that she sent these things to you? Is that woman so stupid that she reported it with her real name? No. Hua Chen Huan's eyes flashed with a cold light, and she chuckled. She reported it anonymously. But since she sent me so many things, I have to know who's behind it. So you got someone to investigate? Then after you're done, since we've found out who did it, this matter won't be over so easily. Su Yiyen's heart trembled, but he seemed to understand something. What did you do? Doesn't she like to gossip? I got someone to poison her and make her mute. Hua Chenhuan's words shocked everyone. Even Su Yiyen was a little surprised. She knew that Hua Chenhuan would not let the culprit off so easily, but she did not expect him to be so ruthless. Also, anything else? Not only did she gossip, but she also slandered you. It's too easy for her to just poison her to mute. Cheng Xiuqin and the others felt that what he said made sense. To put it nicely, some people were jealous and couldn't bear to see others doing well. So they deliberately gossiped behind others' backs and tried to sow discord in the relationship between husband and wife. However, if it was serious, it would be deliberately spreading rumors to tarnish Su Yiyen's reputation and break up their relationship as husband and wife. Fortunately, it was Hua Chenhuan who was with Su Yiyen that day. If it were someone else, they might have talked about something that didn't exist. Thinking of this, they immediately felt that Hua Chenhuan did not go too far. They even felt that he should have gone even further. Su Yiyen felt that he must have done something more serious than making her mute by mentioning this at the end. What did you do? Chapter 10:21. Actually, it's nothing much. I'm just giving her a taste of her own medicine, Hua Chenhuan said with a smile. Doesn't she like to slander others and sow discord between husband and wife? It can be seen that although she is married and has given birth to such a big son, she still has a heart full of longing for an outsider. So, I'll fulfill her wish. Hua Chenhuan did not really want to do anything to that woman. He only planned to let people get close to her and take a few specious photos to send to her husband. Cheng Fenglong's father was indeed cowardly and incompetent, but as long as he was a man with a temper, he would not be able to accept the fact that he had a green grassland above his head. As a result, a few months ago, this family had been in a state of chaos and was on the verge of breaking apart. He did not expect that they still had the strength to play tricks behind the scenes. Thinking of this, Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed coldly. If this matter had nothing to do with them, then so be it. But if it really had something to do with them, he did not mind breaking up their family. Su Yiyen saw Hua Chenhuan's expression and knew what he was thinking. In a daze, she saw Hua Chenhuan in her previous life, who had lost everything and tried his best to kill those culprits who had harmed her. Instinctively, she reached out to hold Hua Chenhuan's hand and said with a faint smile, "Although I'm very happy that you've done all this for me, but next time, I hope that you can tell me earlier." Hua Chenhuan saw that Su Yiyen was not angry at him for acting on his own accord, and a warm smile appeared in his eyes. He replied in a low voice, "Okay." Seeing that the couple had come to a conclusion, the few people beside them did not say anything else. According to what Yin Yan said, this family could really do such a thing. But Junhao had already listened to Yin Yan's words, and did not let Cheng Fenglang enter the company. How did he? If a person wants to do evil, there are many ways. Although he did not enter Uncle's company, as long as he can contact the employees in Uncle's company. Are you suspecting that there's a mole in the company? When Su Yuxuan heard this, he couldn't help but interject. I think it's very likely that there's a traitor in the company for something like this to happen at this juncture. It was just that there was no definite evidence whether this matter was related to Cheng Fenglang or not, so it was hard to conclude. However, since their family is so envious of our family, and can't wait for us to die without descendants, then hand over our family property to them. Even if this matter had nothing to do with them, they might have done something else behind the scenes. It's not a big deal to check. That's true. Su Yuxuan's words received the support of everyone present. After confirming the direction of the investigation, the few of them did not continue this topic. Su Yiyen could tell that the old man was not in a good mood. So she handed the babies over to Cheng Xiuqin and asked her and Qin Xiueru to take the two children to accompany the old man and make him happy. He went into the small kitchen and prepared to cook a big meal with his own hands, using the delicious food to comfort the frightened elders. Before he started, he did not forget to turn on the live stream. The audience in Su Yiyen's livestream was already used to Su Yiyen's surprise attacks from time to time. Even if Su Yiyen did not do a preview, every time she started a livestream, countless viewers who had set up priority notifications would rush over as quickly as possible and push it to the most conspicuous position on the homepage. This time was no exception. I just finished class and I found out that the streamer started a live stream. I'm so happy. This is the first time I've watched the streamer's live stream when the number of viewers has not exceeded 10,000. I'll take a screenshot as a memento. Ha 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 ha. This background, did the streamer go to play at her relative's house again? Chapter 1022. Su Yiyen smiled when she saw the message. Yeah, it just so happens that I'm on vacation these few days. I brought the baby back to see the elders. As soon as she said that, the screen was filled with messages begging the baby to appear on the screen. Su Yiyen smiled and had no intention of letting the child appear on screen. Fortunately, more viewers soon flooded in, and these messages were covered by new ones. The medicine packs that Su Yiyen had recommended in the broadcast room were selling very well recently. Of course, there were one or two people who followed the trend and ordered the medicine packs. However, Su Yiyen had already considered this point. Just like the Chinese herbs that were sold before, the packaging of these medicine packs clearly stated the main purpose and taboo groups. As long as people came to make trouble, they would ask for a medical report. If there was a problem with the right symptoms, they would pay. If they knew that they couldn't eat it, then they deserved it. They didn't care. As it turned out, Su Yiyen was very prescient. After that, there were indeed a few people who caused trouble after eating the medicine packs in the restaurant. In the end, they were in the wrong and had to pay for it. Not only did it not affect the reputation of the medicinal cuisine restaurant, but it also attracted more people's attention to the restaurant and the medicine packs. The sales did not decrease but increased. After the medicine packs became popular for a while, the people who wanted to buy them had already bought them. Today, the audience in the broadcast room was more curious about the new scar removal ointment in the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Streamer, can the new scar removal ointment in your restaurant really remove scars? Is it also made by the streamer with Chinese herbs? A few days ago, I accidentally fell and cut my chin. The doctor said that it will definitely leave a scar. Although it's not easy to see it on the chin, it's still ugly to have a scar on the face. Streamer, is your scar removal ointment useful for burning scars? I have a younger sister who accidentally burned her thigh and calf when she was boiling water when she was young. It's such a big scar that she doesn't dare to wear a skirt until now. Streamer. Su Yiyen looked at the screen full of questions and pondered for a moment. She deliberated for a while and made a conclusion. The scar removal ointment in the restaurant is indeed a private product of our restaurant. It can indeed remove scars. It's basically suitable for both big and small scars. It's just that small scars take effect faster and require more treatment. For large scars such as burns, it may take a longer time for the treatment to take effect compared to other scars. Apart from that, the new scars that were left behind recently took effect faster, because the skin texture was relatively more active. If it was an old scar, it would take a longer time to recover. You might have scars of the same size, but if someone else uses 1 bottle, you have to use 2 bottles. If someone else uses 1 month, you have to use 2 months. That's the specific difference. The inquiring audience members were all very excited when they received the confirmation. It was no wonder that they had doubts about the scar removal ointment. Most of the ointment purchased in Su Yiyen's shop were related to food. Think even those medicine packets had to be brought back and stewed with other ingredients to be eaten. Out of nowhere, a scar removal ointment appeared. Many people suspected that their streamer had begun to sell other people's goods like other internet celebrities. In addition, some anti-fans and competitors who sold scar removal and beauty products deliberately stirred things up and questioned the efficacy of this ointment. This caused this ointment to be on the shelves for 2 days with mediocre sales. It was not as popular as the previous ointment packs. Chapter 1023. Xiao Kai was a small streamer in the makeup section of Onlooker. Her ID was Kaikaizi. She would do makeup online and try out colors when she had nothing to do. Because of her delicate facial features and straightforward personality, she had attracted a lot of fans in the past 2 or 3 years, and became a famous streamer in the makeup section. The top girl in the gourmet section next door appeared out of nowhere, and dominated almost all the recommendation banners on the website. Many streamers in other sections were hostile to her and envious of her. Xiao Kai didn't feel anything. First of all, the two of them were in different sections and didn't have too much direct conflict. Second, she actually liked to eat. However, they were both streamers and Su Yiyan was many times more popular than her. It was easy to be said that chasing stars with a main account would be easy for people to say that she was sticking to Su Yiyan. She only dared to open a side account and secretly stay in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room to be a humble audience who sent flowers every day. This stalemate finally had a subtle turn for the better after the scar removal ointment appeared in Su Yiyan's store. After the scar removal ointment was put up for sale in the medicinal cuisine restaurant and the official website, Xiao Kai immediately bought a few bottles and released a notice that she would do an open box trial after she got the ointment. As a result, the order was placed at noon and Xiao Kai received the finished product that night. She started the live broadcast as promised. Today, I'm bringing you the scar removal ointment that was recently put up for sale in the Carnival restaurant. I just bought it on the official website this morning, and it will arrive in the afternoon. First, I'll open the box for everyone to check the goods. After that, I'll do a trial run. As soon as Xiao Kai finished speaking, a few unfriendly comments appeared on the bullet screen. Carnival restaurant? A new beauty brand? I've never heard of it. Is the streamer casually looking for some unbranded products to promote in order to make money? Aren't you afraid that you'll ruin your reputation? I went to search around and only know that there's a restaurant called Carnival Restaurant that sells scar removal beauty products. This is the funniest joke I've heard this year. I thought that the streamer was different from the other streamers in the makeup section. She wouldn't make money as soon as she became popular. Now it seems that I was naive. Forget about the previous ones. After all, they were well-known brands with a good reputation. Now it's worse. She even pulled this unbranded brand that we don't know if it has quality assurance into the live broadcast room. She misled the fans to increase the sales of these unbranded products. Are you worthy of us, the fans who trusted you wholeheartedly? You really don't care about your face for the sake of money. I'm unsubscribing. Xiao Kai's face darkened when he saw these comments, but he didn't back down because of this. These so-called audience members who were clamoring to quit being fans were most likely opponents or haters pretending to be fans. When she first started live streaming, she had a glass heart. She wondered if she had really done something wrong to let down the people who liked her. Later on, after experiencing more, she realized that some people in this world hated you for no specific reason. They only hated you because they hated you. No matter how well you do or how hard you work, they can find thousands of reasons to deny your hard work and excellence. The best way to deal with such people was to ignore them and not even look at them. Xiao Kai calmed himself down and smiled faintly. This is the first time I've done such a time-sensitive evaluation. So please forgive me if I don't do well. Alright, let's not waste time. Let's open the chests. Xiao Kai said as she opened the box. There were 3 bottles of scar removal ointment in the box, each containing about 100 grams. Chapter 1024. There was a simple but elegant little box on the outside. After opening it, there was an exquisite glass bottle with a simple appearance. Only the words Carnival Restaurant could be vaguely seen. The ointment was a refreshing light green color. It was cold to the touch and quite comfortable. There were 2 scars on Xiao Kai's body. One was on her face. It was a poxmark that she couldn't help but scratch when she had acne as a child. There were 4 or 5 of them, distributed all over her face. They weren't particularly obvious. However, as a makeup streamer, she often had no makeup on during her live broadcasts. When the camera zoomed in, these marks were very obvious. In the beginning, it was still okay. Her face was a little blurry, and the audience was more tolerant. No one said anything about the pox marks on her face. They only paid attention to her makeup and the makeup products she used. When she became a little more popular, her popularity increased, and the number of viewers increased. All kinds of people began to flood into the live broadcast room. Gradually, people began to talk about the acne marks on her face. Some anti-fans even deliberately gave her a black nickname, Acne Girl Streamer. The other mark was on her arm. It was a long and deep cut from a relative's naughty child a few months ago. There was a lot of blood at the time, and Xiao Kai's parents were so scared that they almost fainted on the spot. Although she was sent to the hospital in time to save her life, an ugly scar was left on her arm. After that, the relative took a basket of fruits to the hospital. He was trying to excuse his son, saying that the child was naughty and that adults shouldn't be too calculative with him. However, Xiao Kai and Xiao Kai's parents were so angry that they fell out with that person on the spot. From then on, they never contacted each other again. It was said that not long ago, the naughty child was involved in another murder case. This time it wasn't a small quarrel between relatives. The victim's family had some power and was determined to get to the bottom of it. Unfortunately, 2 days before the murder, the naughty child just happened to be an adult. The best outcome was that he would be imprisoned for 10 to 20 years. At the same time, his family would have to bear a huge amount of compensation. That family only had one child in 3 generations. How could they watch him be ruined like this? It was said that they had been running around to borrow money and ask for help. When Xiao Kai heard this, he was neither sad nor happy. While his anger had been vented, he also felt a little relieved. Fortunately, they had long since cut off all pretense of cordiality with this family. Whether they lived or died now, it had nothing to do with them. Back to the topic at hand. The scar on Xiao Kai's arm was less than a year old, and it was a light pink color. Compared to this scar, the acne marks on his face were brown and slightly sunken. It says on the outside box that old scars take effect more slowly than new scars, and big scars take effect more slowly than small scars. The scars on my face and hands are old and new, big and small. For the next half a month, I will be broadcasting on time every day. Babies, pay attention to the changes in my scars. As Xiao Kai spoke, she applied the scar removal ointment evenly on her arm. The ointment feels cool on the skin. After that, let's put on some makeup and see if the ointment has any allergic reactions to the skin. This was what most girls would do when trying on cosmetics, especially facial masks. First, they would use the ointment on their hands for a period of time. After making sure that there wouldn't be any allergic reactions, they would apply it to their face. During this process, the live broadcast room would occasionally have a few comments cursing her rotten face. Xiao Kai saw them but didn't care. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.